Hello, everyone. Hello. How's everyone this morning? All the animals are here with me. My one ginger cat is across the way. Tommy's here. Rock the dog is just over there. So nice to be here together. I would love to know you're here in live Eastern time with me, 10 a.m. on Sundays. If you leave something in the chat, perhaps just a hello or anything you'd like to contribute. Almost ready to start. Let's see here. So we are here through Sun and Moon Yoga Studios portal. Welcome. My name is aLex Levin. We're here on Sundays, weekly Eastern time, 10 o'clock each week. Almost even on holidays. I've usually liked to do this so much that I make a way, and if I don't, sometimes I've had a sub or I've recorded something in advance that you can find under the live tab or under the live tab, but not live anymore. So it's a time for us to gather, even though we're not together in the same space like my animals are. But as I see, Mary Beth has joined us. Thank you for saying hello. And it's just powerful and special to do these practices that are, for some reason, they're challenging to do alone. Very worthwhile to do alone. Movement, meditation, contemplation, inquiry. But to do them together is not only supportive and helps us in some ways easier, I think, but essential, as I've mentioned over maybe last week, other times. I'm not sure we can reach our practice goals alone. Maybe that depends on what the goals are, but I think of that phrase from the Bible that I don't know exactly. It says so many things I know partially, but not exactly. Something like a quote from Jesus that I believe says, "No one comes to the Father except through me." And while I don't know exactly the source of that, which book it's in the Bible, I have my own understanding of that. Is that um, we don't heal, we don't um, self-actualize, we don't uh, grow or move toward enlightenment. Some of the phrases or some of the goals that you may have in this practice without without considering our brothers and sisters, all of them. That's a big topic. I didn't expect to go there like this, but I may riff on that another time some more. Uh, but it, the purpose here was to say thank you for being here and for attending and how powerful it is. So I'm actually going to mention a theme that I frequently visit, but it was on my mind last week, and I just touched on it so briefly. So I'll talk a little bit, then we'll move a little bit, and then we'll be still a little bit altogether. Actually, let me do what I've intended to do for a while. Let's center first. Let's center and ground. And you might have already established that. I've had a wicked cold, and you might hear it a little bit in my voice, my nasal congestion. I'm feeling much better, though. Thank you. So, My go-to first of the ground sound breath is ground. Sometimes breath, but usually ground. And once in a rare while sound, but and it's okay. Any of those, however you come to the doorway of presence, whatever works for you. And ground starts us to integrate body, the place we are, the earth, the alive earth. Can even think of the earth as our sister. We have to consider our earth in our path. And this navigating, this finding the feel of your own body's weights, shapes, um, condition, just as it is now, with respect to gravity, to Earth's that force that happens because of the spin, because of the movement of Earth, is has been, as I started working with it really strongly about 10 years ago, it helps me m- locate my body and keep my body safe and strong, um, in a very powerful way as I move through everything, as I walk the dog, as I lunge to pick up something off the floor, as I squat, as I sit down to the floor to tie my shoe, as I'm moving. This is an incredible freedom and um, assist to our own body when we find how we can use gravity rather than succumb to it or fight it. And it might be in the simplest way that you feel, I can relax my shoulders if you're sitting, or if you're laying down, I can just feel my whole back body receive the ground a little better as I let go of the tensions, the tensions that are supportive actually, that support our body, but it's limited support. It's a limited support, and it's very draining over time. All right, and then we have breath. Without, you can keep feeling that interface of your body to the connection to whatever it is you're sitting on. Adjust a little bit. Be making the slow adjustments as you feel gravity, as you start to feel the complementary buoyancy, levity that that attending to breath can help us find. And as you find your breath, as we'll work together, feeling the body, feeling the way the body moves with the waves of breath. Maybe you even feel your facial muscles relax, as a phrase I heard from a very seasoned, famous teacher, Sharon Gannon of Jivamukti. Relax the mask of your personality. Jaw hinges. And then sound, folding in sound. You don't need to lose ground and breath, but as you start to feel how sound comes from out there to in here and inextricably connecting the two. And what we experience as sound And you break it down and feel what we're experiencing right here is that something needs to be struck to make sound. Tap of my mug, um, the tongue and mouth parts of creating my speech, my vocal voice box, and that those waves are coming to our ears and striking in there. So, where does the sound actually happen? In the springs of the couch, and inside my ear, or inside the brain that the cells and the mechanisms that perceive. And then beyond all this, maybe I need to add to ground sound breath. Maybe it's the culmination of all of these, and what we do in our meditation as we start to sense that part of us that never changes, that is the knowing, seeing, unchanging. So as you just continue to rest into what you're experiencing in presence as much as possible, let me say a few words about slowing down. I'm a slow learner, actually, in some ways. Some things I grasp quickly, but there's something pretty fundamental that maybe need I would like to change but isn't willing to change yet. And I received a couple lessons a couple weeks ago. I have been moving things around in our house and for some repairs and cleanups, and I was moving some boards in our basement, and I dropped the board on my bare foot on my toes. Boy, did that hurt like hell. I was thought I might have broken it, but anyway, I iced it. I iced it a lot for the next 24 hours, and it's fine. I don't think it's broken, but it did hurt for a number of days. It affected my walking a little bit. Kind of like, okay, slow down, slow down. You didn't need to be moving quite so fast. If I had not been moving quite so fast, probably could have averted that pain. The yogis have a phrase, ancient wisdom from the sutras, the Yoga Sutras, is future suffering is to be avoided, can be avoided. And then 2 days later, same project, putting things away. So we have fairly steep steps down to the basement. I'm just carrying some light objects, but big crates, empty crates, plastic crates. And I slid, and boom, 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 the stairs are wooden, and hit my back, my hip, my legs somehow. Oh my God. I was sure that some previous injuries would come up to haunt me. I also realized, geez, I could have hurt myself so much worse. I could have knocked my head. For a few days after those two lessons, I was very cognizant of the message coming to me, the teaching the universe was giving me, slow down. And still I'm resisting it, I see. And I'm saying this too as a self-flagellation, but just I'm learning, I'm hearing it, and how we can take in the messages that we might be getting, and honoring also the resistance in me, the pattern of when I feel well to wanna get things done, to honor that, and there's a good purpose in that. But could I make more time? And here we are in this practice together to make more time for this. And perhaps I think that I am, And all of us are learning, even if it's slow, and we should recognize the learning that is happening, that is taking place, the progress. And one evidence of that I've also had in this past couple weeks is um, something else happened where mm, didn't turn out exactly as I had hoped it would, and my reaction or to something that I don't want to go into, but I realized what I the space that I have given for contemplation, for pausing, for sort of feeling the all that we invite as we come to this doorway of presence to presence itself in ground, sound, breath, as we let ourselves rest into the presence that really is our source for our own dharma, for our own way, our own next wise step for expressing, for doing, for being in this world. So that doing, being, and busyness, and all we want to accomplish or be or to offer to help is not separate from that boundless, timeless awareness presence. And maybe some of us with this need to control or habit of control, which has its purpose, has its also its benefit. But like most yin yang imbalances, and for me, they're mostly the yang is overtaking. So, how I can make space for the yin. There may be some of you out there where the yin is overtaking, where there's more passiveness, laziness, status quo, inertia, and I have that too. We have both of those. I just feel for me mostly the yang overtakes, but watch for yourself. So I got an opportunity to notice that an emotional energy, I'll call it, it's anxiety. How I was meeting anxiety was I wasn't really allowing it, I wasn't witnessing it, but I was sort of feeling it and immediately having a response to coping. Um, and again, it's not bad. The wonderful part about this path, and another theme erupting here, as I'm not sure of all parts of this, is we get a second chance. We get a second, third, fourth chance. Most of the time, we get lots more chances. Maybe even after we die. Who knows? All right. As last week, I've been going on and on talking, but um, to round that out, it was very helpful. I didn't necessarily do anything with that. I have some ideas of how to meet that, what to do next with that, but I've been sort of just celebrating the catch that I caught that and held it just, oh, it's just as if I just held a gaze of another being. Oh, I could just see you. It's a great start. So maybe as you hear that my experience, this context of the path of why the slowing down, the entering into the intention of entering into presence, which is already here. And I know so many teachers say it's kind of a almost doesn't feel true to say that you have to that we need to enter it. It's already here, and yet we do, because we're kind of running away from it. We're kind of not conscious of the presence, most of us. Maybe that's again not all of us. So find the position that you'd like to be in for a little movement. And I'm actually going to visit the same movement we did last week. This one is Really good to do lying on your side. So if you'd like to be on the floor lying on your side or on a bed, that can be super helpful. But you can do it as I'm doing, sitting up. You can be lying, leaning back. I'm choosing to be more upright, not depending on the upright of the couch, but either is fine. You could do this standing if you like. So once again, arrive, sound, breath, ground, and imagine that the rib cage, which starts way up high above the collarbones, actually, behind there and above, and goes all down. And just as you're maybe with me tracing with your own hands the rib cage, and in the front, it comes up high toward the xiphoid process. This makes this soft spot of the solar plexus comes the ribs come down to the sides and then in back connect up to the spine, not a rigid connection but a soft cartilage connection, and all the spaces between the ribs and the breastbone, the ribs and collarbone, ribs and any of the bones, all the separate ribs themselves have soft tissue between them, muscle, fascia, tendons, ligaments. So imagine there are three horizontal portions: the top, the middle, and the lower. And we'll start with the middle this time. I think we might, yeah, we started with the middle last week too, maybe. Maybe we start with the lower. We'll start with the middle, and I'm going to place my backs of my fingers against the, excuse me, middle of uh, this middle band on the sides. And then I'm shifting my ribs, that whole band, over to the right, my left really, but looks like you're right, and back to center, and just rest back at center. Stop, slow down, again to the right, and you'll feel that the whole spine shifts, the lower ribs get dragged along, the shoulders, maybe even the neck senses this, maybe your lower back, pelvis is getting a called a domino effect from this. And when you come back, I've forgot to do that myself, but just fully pause, come to full stop each center. And then as we fully pause at center, let's go over to the other side, to your left. Maybe this side feels different. I say that because I feel it in myself different. And the rib cage, if you think of how you might have seen an x-ray of your own, or images of the bones of the rib cage, it's not um, it's there's more diagonals there than horizontal verticals. There's diagonals, so that means it's not going to shift exactly linearly. There's going to be an arc in the shift. The whole ovoid shape, roughly ovoid of the ribs is not going so linearly, but rather kind of spirally. Okay, let that go. You don't have to use your hands for this, but I find it really nice. And then the lower band, I'm going to not use my hands for this part. You can if you like. And I'm going to shift the lower band to the left, back to center. Pause there, just feeling that center point, and over to the right. And you might not even see me moving. Maybe you'll see it more in the hands that are resting in my lap. And then over to oh my dear, time has just gone too fast. Back and forth as I glance at the clock. Okay, let's pause there, and due to my mismanagement of time, let's just pause and let this little bit of movement, let us feel how we feel now, how we might be feeling more present, more of us is online in presence, connected back. And maybe you're available to drop right into meditation without even moving, or maybe you'll shift a little bit as we start just a very short, this is going to be a 3-minute meditation. Stopping, nothing to do, nowhere to be, no one to be, simply being. And in that being is the witnessing that all of each of us that is ever seeing, ever knowing, out of time, beyond space, seeing how what gifts show up for you that may be in disguise. A few more breaths together. After the bell, after we bow together, you might choose to sit a little bit longer. It's sort of a quiet, a shortened sit today. And you may feel deep in it Bow to you, bow to myself, bow to all beings. Check out our offerings of all kinds of practice and community, sunandmoonstudio.com. Thank you. See you next time.